Hey everyone, welcome to episode 97 of the Pickleball Effect podcast. I'm your host, Braydon. Today we're joined by Aaron, the editor, and Kyle, Dink Smash Media Trango. Welcome guys, happy to have you. This episode is brought to you by Pickleball Central, your one-stop shop for all things pickleball. Next time you need to buy something pickleball related, think of Pickleball Central and come back to the podcast and click the link in the description to apply the discounts across the entire website, including paddles, balls, shoes, and pretty much everything they've got. On top of that, Pickleball Central gives you peace of mind with a risk-free 30-day paddle trial, price match guarantee so that you never overpay, and a rewards program that gives you back money every time you shop. So do your shopping at Pickleball Central. For the, what we got going on this week? We've got our usual segments. I got a couple things for the weekly update. And then we'll see what you guys got going there. You guys never put in bullets for the weekly update. It's always just me in there.
I just wing it.
I think you guys exist during the week.
Yeah, we do. I just wing it.
And then we're going to skip over 30 to 50. We got Aaron it out. Aaron, any teasers?
You know, I was short on time. I always find myself wanting to make like this week's or better than last month's. And I'm scratching the bottom of the pan here. I got a good idea. I don't love it, but you're going to want to watch. And so I write about...
I'm hearing two sides of the story here. You're going to want to watch and you're not going to like...
Aaron It Out happens around 20 minutes in. Click the timestamp, watch Aaron It Out, and then go on throughout your day. I think that's what I want to say.
Okay. Skip the rest.
And then Kyle's Corner. Kyle, what are we looking at today?
Well, mainly we're going to talk a little bit about what we saw this week in the Vintage Open. Get some of your opinions on that. And then I have a hot take / question I want to go over with you guys. So,
all right.
I watched a little of the Malaysia Open.
Was so fun to watch.
See, okay, I agree. Okay.
And then Paddle, Babble, and Gear. Oh, sorry, we had a little delay there in the audio. That's what happens when we do the remote. We're gonna get delays.
Nah, it's good. But I agree. The Open
it's
awesome.
happening again. No, perfect timing. Whose internet is it? It's probably mine. Okay, I'm waiting. Nothing's coming through. All right, I'm moving on. Paddle, Babble, and Gear. I want to talk through a poll that I asked on Instagram asking what people's preferences in feel, because you got two different feels with this new Vatic Pro launch. We'll talk about those results. And then we're gonna go off paddles for a minute. I got some shoes from Franklin that are coming out in October I want to talk about. And then I've been using some clothes from Centerline, some shorts and shirts from them that we're gonna give some first impressions of, I guess. So going to weekly update, big thing for me this week was the launching of the V1 of the Paddle Tuning Lab. Did you guys check it out?
Not yet.
Yeah, love it.
I need to.
It's really cool. So it's perfect for a person like me who has more paddles than the average person, but still doesn't have a graffiti, because that's kind of like, why would I buy something so expensive? And so get a lot of paddles, always want to put weight on, tune as much as I can. So this is like the perfect tool that I can go in and, I would say there's like rules of weight. If it's a wide body, I might put it here. If it's like an elongated, I might put it here. I try to look up some of the stats and then, do some of like the weighting in my head. But this is like a perfect tool to where before I throw weight on, I can kind of go play with it and tinker. I think for a V1, it was a lot further along than I expected it to be. So shout out to you. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I didn't know how it was going to work. It was really challenging to get the math and some sort of functional UI that made sense. Like the original idea I had in my head was like this big, grand, really beautiful UI where you drag the weight and it just follows that, the edge of the paddle perfectly. And it just wasn't that simple, but came up with a nice little solution there. Essentially, it's just this virtual customization, playground or lab is what I'm calling it, where you just simulate putting weight on your paddle, and then it tells you what your estimated swing weight and twist weight is going to be, so you can customize it before you put your weight on there, and exactly. I mean, there's like the playing with it, but then you can also learn what your preferences are. Maybe you have a setup you already know you like go throw your setup on in the lab, and then it's going to tell you what your swing weight is, what your twist weight is. Then you know what your preferences are, you know what your tolerance is. Maybe you hear, oh man, 120 is just way too heavy, because you hear that over and over, and different places, but then maybe you find out the paddle you're playing is a 125 swing weight because of how much weight you have on it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, maybe 125 isn't so bad or something. I'm really curious to see what Kyle's swing weights are. Kyle, do you know what your tuned up swing weights are?
I don't. That's a good question. I'm gonna use the graffiti, and I'm gonna use your tool on my Shogun and see what and see what it is.
Yeah, do it. Pull it up.
And I'll compare them.
Yeah, no, please do. I've been doing that with a bunch of paddles this week, and it's pretty close. It's pretty accurate. It can get a little finicky. Like you have to get the placement pretty close on the where you put the weight. But when you get it in the right spot, like if you're using it correctly, you're lining it up with how you do your paddle. It's everything I've tested is pretty tight. So, but if you break it, let me know. We'll get that fixed. I think V2 right now you can add like cap coins. You can add multiple different densities of tape and pre-cut strips. I think V2, I want to do like, okay, throw an overgrip on there. You know, how does that change the balance point or whatever? Hessicore was something somebody recommended. Nice. I thought that was clever.
Yep, smart.
So I think I never was a fan of Hessicores, but I know they're really popular. I believe there's 3 different weights. And so I'm just going to get my hands on those, run the numbers there, make that an option. And then Kyle, you had said once to do like some like pre-loaded or like some stuff where you just give people the like a recommended setup, and so I think that will be
where you would like pick like offense, defense, all court, whatever, and they would just give you recommendation. Braydon's recommendation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool ways I think we can bump this up, but as a V1, it's pretty solid. I'm pretty confident in the math right now. If anyone does test and break it, please let me know. But I'm going to keep testing this week. I'll put the link in the description if you want to go check it out, and then hopefully start pushing it out like a little bit more in about a week or so. But really happy with that, really pumped about it. And then in addition to just these like interactive tools thing I've been going, through. So I got the main paddle monitor up and running. I've always had that paddle quiz, but I'm updating the paddle quiz. So that's going to be my next big project for these. I found a new tool where I can make the paddle quiz much more nuanced, give you different like paths to go down. The current paddle quiz is just linear. You just answer 4 questions, off you go. This new one will be, it'll branch out depending on how you answer. So you can get a little more granular. So like maybe you want a little more power. So it'll break out into like more power questions. Like, do you want high power, medium power, low? Like it'll kind of break it out and give you more, just more detailed, more nuanced answers there to give you a better recommendation. Plus this new tool I'm going to use is going to be easier for me to store the paddles that get recommended. Essentially it'll be like my hot list. Those would be like the available paddles in the background for the most part. And then with probably an additional 10 or so paddles outside of those that'll get recommended based on how you answer your question. But that's kind of phase 2. And then for that one, and then I also hired a website agency this week. So I'm really pumped about this. Like I've been doing some research, thinking how I can move things forward. And when you look at like trust signals for just brands in general, I'm sure you guys can relate to this. You go to someone's website, the first thing you judge is like the design, the usability. Like that's the first trust signal. If the website is beautiful, if it's organized well, and visually appealing, that's like an immediate. It's like, yes, I trust this brand, what they're saying, and that's a big deal. And there's not many pickleball there's outside of like brands, like reviewers, internet people. Not too many people have like a really beautiful website that functions well, is really user friendly, and so I'm gonna up the design of the website. And plus, like everything I have right now is kind of scattered. Aaron, I'm sure you realize this when you first started doing videos. You're like, Braydon has no identity. He has no brand. He has no colors. He has no.
Hey, none of those words were said.
Yeah, but I'm sure you were thinking those things. Anyway, so we're going to define all those, and then as we build the website, and that's going to start filtering into IG posts, videos, and everything's going to be more cohesive. Yeah. Everything's going to be, become a brand and just be more intentional with like a lot of the messaging and stuff I use on the website, which I'm excited about. Pulling in some of my marketing background, my marketing days to just kind of establish the website and myself as someone that's easy to trust and become maybe a stronger thought leader there. But pumped about that project. I played a few times this week, playing mostly with the V-Sols and the power, still getting some finalized thoughts there with, what do you call it for the review? We do reviews. Did you guys play this week? What are you playing with?
I got on court with the Falcon, the Loco, the Diadem Blue Core Power, or the Edge Blue Core.
I want to hear your early thoughts on the Diadem. So we had talked about that one last week a little bit. My early thoughts was good all-court paddle, really cool tech, but it was a little tingy. That wasn't my preference feel wise. What was your experience with that?
So I got the 16 Pro. I would say higher level all court, crazy good spin though. I was getting some really good shape off that paddle. It was fun, but definitely I like it a lot more than I like the original Blue Core. I could play it. I could main it if I really wanted to. I'm pretty set with my main right now, but I liked it. I think it was a good entry for them. I think it'll do well, and I think it fits well into the higher level all court category.
Yeah.
But
what did you think of the feel? Were you drawn to it like that? Did you kind of see the tinginess I was talking about?
Yeah, I felt it a little bit. It didn't it wasn't off-putting, but it didn't feel as good as like some of the other paddles too. I mean, I like the feel. Like it didn't feel as good to me as like the NF or, everybody prefers a different impact feel. I always prefer like something a little softer. So I did feel the tinginess, but it wasn't like jarring.
Yeah, it was just a little different. Like it didn't fall into kind of your typical category there. The 16's right down your alley though. It was like a 120, 122 swing weight.
Yep.
No,
I felt good.
I need to try that one.
Kyle, what's the main right now, Kyle? I forget.
El Loco.
Elongated. Nice. You said I could main it if I really had to. Isn't that the case with any paddle?
Well, no. It falls into a category of a main, like a paddle that I would use as a main is kind of what I meant.
Okay.
Like it, in the realm of a paddle I would choose, it was there.
All right. I haven't hit it or I probably won't get it, which is totally fine. But what I'm excited about is the 18K Traxial Weave, which is part of that spin generation. I know we saw that on Chorus Shapeshifter, and Diadem was using it on the Edge 18K, and we kind of haven't seen that material used a lot. I remember Matt with Chorus said it's a really expensive face material, but every time it's used in the 2 or 3 or 4 times, it always correlates with really high spin generation. And so cool to see a Triaxial 18K Weave on a foam core. Free shout out, paddle manufacturers, flirt with some 18K. I think it's a pretty cool material, and we haven't seen it in over a year. And so as a fan of it originally, cool to make see it come back in 2025.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely something to that weave that they use. I do think this, even my spin numbers, mashed up with those, both of your guys' thoughts or what you were saying. But when that first came out, Kyle, I think we knew each other then. That paddle was a good spin paddle then. I'm surprised. Like Chorus, the Shapeshifter was really the only brand that picked that up. Nobody else did, which I was really surprised. Even now, it's probably a cost thing, I would think.
Yeah, and what's the grittiness of this Blue Core? Like pretty traditional, smoother? Are we getting like a coarse peel ply? I feel like every paddle these days, it's like you're pretty much forced to use a coarse peel ply, even if it wears a little different. How was feel on face as far as the sandpaper test?
I'm trying to think. I didn't feel it. I don't think I felt it. I'm gonna have to grab it. I'm kind of.
Well, the reason I say that is because I've never felt
like it felt rough, but I don't remember thinking.
I've never felt that face material with a gritty paddle. So I wonder if you use that as like a top sheet, if the peel ply correlates with non-grittiness. To me, I'm in my stupid brain, I'm like 1 + 1 is 2 is like 18K weave plus a coarse peel ply. What's the spin generation on that? Or maybe it's illegal. Maybe maybe that facing material has some grab, and so you need to tone down the grit. Not sure, but every 18K material I've ever felt, it's kind of been more smooth, like the Gearbox used to feel versus like some of the gritty sandpapers that you're getting these days.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think it was overly smooth or overly gritty. I think it was somewhere in the middle, but I'll have to grab it and I'll drop something in the notes.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, good question. The Aaron, your edit this week for the Carbon, by the way, I loved it. Your edits, as we've like progressed, like we're starting to get like some more elements, like the charts and the comparison you've been adding more often. I love, and then but we're starting to see some elements that you're just kind of bringing out that look really sharp, and like your B-roll is getting a little more consistent. And everything, I don't know, everything feels like it's coming together, and it just came together really well on that review. If you guys haven't watched it, if you don't care about the waves, just go watch it for Aaron's edit.
Do it for me.
There's always a nugget, dude. I'm surprised we don't get more comments about your little funny meme nuggets that you put in every single video? Because you do at least one in every single
One or
video.
two. What's
One or
the
two.
oh, I guess we can't call it out because you have to go watch. There's two I can think. One in the end, one in the middle, and I think there's a paddle tap that I zoom in on. Anytime you do a paddle tap and someone doesn't, you're not getting mutual tapping. You got to zoom in on that. But thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this a year. We're trying to hone in. I feel like sometimes I'll like shift the videos and B-roll around with how I'm feeling as far as like creativity. I kind of like let that evolve as you never want to get too stale. But I do agree we're kind of honing in on like an image or a feeling that a Pickleball Effect has with some of the videos, and so
you manage that. You manage that balance well, like being the creative but having it feel like one of our videos.
Watch the website just come in and throw off the brand that I've been building, and it's like pink.
No, dude,
and we got cursive, and now I got to start
the other
from
way around.
square one.
We're looking at the videos for inspo is more like it.
Hell yeah, that'll be sweet. Thank you, appreciate
it.
What
have you been up to this week? What are you playing?
C45 Paris Todd. I've been playing that. I like it a lot just because I put a ton of hours on the C45, and so even though it was thinner, and I would say there was a big jump with how the 14 feels to the 13.25, and I wouldn't say it's broken in the same, but then again, I probably have 50 plus hours on that C45 hybrid. But playing that and then playing elongated boomstick, and when I'm dialed, that thing is so fun. Like the twist, like the stock twist weight and an elongated feels so good.
Okay, this sounds like your flick story from not long ago. What are you taking right now, flick or boomstick?
I would take boomstick right now. I don't know. I think it's like these. You play good one day, and then like you kind of go on like it's like a really good first date with a paddle, and then you're like you're fantasizing about maybe like getting married and the family you'll create all with this paddle, and then you play one game with people that are better than you, and you get your butt kicked, and then you're like maybe I'll go back to the blank. So it was that, but I've been playing the boomstick this week, and it's just been a ton of fun to play with it, regardless of it's a bad paddle for me and Aaron constantly condemning power.
So the C45 13 or the Paris Todd's the fallback. And then you had that fun shout out from the Malaysian Open this week.
Yeah, so I've been watching PPA Asia in Malaysia.
Wait, okay, hold on. Before you jump into this had to be like 3 a.m. or something, right? Because that's when they were going live.
No, I mean 3 a.m. if you're on the East
it wasn't
Coast.
That late at night.
They would.
Yeah.
All of these, they were going live every day at like 11 p.m. our time, my time in Arizona, 12 p.m. your time, and then 2+ if you're on the East Coast. And so as I was like kind of in bed, because I usually go to bed, between 11 and 12, I was just watching PPA Malaysia, right? And so over the course of the last few days, been watching like Ben and Christian Alshon, and then I'm not sure who Zane's playing with, and then Unsins is playing with McGuffin, thank you. And so just been watching some international games, and then who's commentating is Simon Yen, who owns Stacked Pickleball in Hong Kong, who hosted us when we went on the Hong Kong trip earlier this year, and so I knew he commentated a little bit because he did a PPA Hong Kong when they were like a few months ago, but then he was doing Malaysia as well, and so I was blowing up his phone, being like, I can't believe you're commentating, haha, this is so cool, and kind of commenting in the the live chat on YouTube. And then, he shouted out Pickleball Effect, shouted me out. So just really cool to, one, support PPA Asia, support Simon, and then 2, get a Pickleball Effect. I did it for you, Braydon. I was getting a little International Pickleball Effect ad read. That's what that was. But we always appreciate a shout out.
Big time.
So shout out Simon, shout out Stacked, shout out PPA Asia, and shout out our American boys for getting it done.
We had two Americans in the finals for the men's. That's the only one I saw the finalists of. So Stacked, the company that Simon's affiliated with, the indoor place. I didn't go there the same time you did, but I went a couple days later.
Yeah.
They gave me one of their shirts, and it didn't fit me, dude. They were Asian fitted. I'm too tall for those Asian shirts. I tried to get
crop top
everywhere I was looking on that trip, and just everything was like crop tops on me.
Dang, you know what? Perfect for a sub 6 footer. Perfect for a sub 6 footer. I blend in perfect in Hong Kong. Hong Kong Pickleball Effect. And whenever we're ready to open up that brand, let me know.
That's
when
you're in front.
Just because of my height and repertoire.
But my wife wears it all the time, and she's half Asian, so it worked out great.
Perfect.
Anyways, those guys are awesome. They're gonna blow it up over there. They already are. All right, let's go to airing it out. Brought to you
3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Are we doing 3 out of 5? Oh, skipping this week.
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah, we're skipping it.
Anyone who wants to start a podcast, it's probably good to read the notes. So if you're thinking about starting, read the show notes and read the part where it says skipping this week, and then you won't sound stupid like me. All right, let's cut to Aaron and Out. This week on Aaron and Out, it's presented by Holy, and I'm actually, instead of reading it and botching, I'm going to toss it back to Braydon, who is the king of ad reads. Braydon, tell me about Holy.
So this is an electrolyte system built from the ground up for pickleball players. Their 3-phase formula keeps you hydrated during play, speeds up recovery after, and sustains your energy so you can go the distance. The flavors are just right, the ingredients are clean, and best of all, it delivers results you'll actually feel. Tap the link in the description and use the code PPAffect at checkout to save. Your body and your game will thank you. That's one of my favorite reads. Like, I'm really proud of what I wrote there.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it really encapsulates what they offer, and it's a good product. So go check them out. All right, Aaron.
Pickleball Effect is a good promo code, but it would be funnier if the promo code was and you have to guess the amount of H's to get the promo code.
Yeah, the more H's, the
more. Yeah, it goes to 10 to 20 to 30%. Okay, this week on Aaron and Out, no AI preparation, no reading, no funny puns, straight to business. And you know what? I'm ripping off another pickleball podcast for our segment because I believe that we can do it better. So recently, if you've watched this, I don't know, it's a small podcast, Pickleball Schmudio. I don't know. It's these two guys in Minnesota. They think they know what they're talking about. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's worth your time. But they had this segment at the end where they did paddle guessing. Did you guys watch this?
I did not see it.
Kyle? So what they did is they played a game at the end. They gave each other 60 seconds to guess a certain paddle. And so, for example, let's just say it's the 6-0 Ruby is the paddle that I pick. And then I give Braydon 60 seconds, and you can ask me as many questions as you want, construction, face layups, without saying the brand, what's the brand, or what's the paddle. You can ask shapes, things like that. And you got to guess the paddle in 60 seconds. And so I have 2 rounds, 2 paddles, and I think this might go bad with the internet connection, so Braydon, you could shake it up. But I was thinking, instead of we could either 1, you guys compete and we do 1-on-1, or 2, you guys can alternate questions for the 60 seconds. But with Kyle on his dial-up here, we might just want to do 1-on-1. But the game is 60 seconds to guess the paddle. I got 2 battles in my head, 2 rounds.
Yeah, that came like 5 seconds after he called you
he's
out
like,
on that.
And then it jumps. Braydon, any preference on teaming up together for 2 rounds, collectively trading questions, or do you want to do solo rounds?
Let's do solo rounds.
Okay, solo rounds. Solo dolo. Who's going first?
I'll go first this time. Usually it's Kyle, so I'll take it this time.
Okay, and the paddle. Okay, I got it. Okay, so I got 60 seconds here on the clock. I'm going to start it. And Braydon, as soon as I click start, you got 60 seconds to ask as many questions. You can guess paddles. Is it blank at the end or whenever you want if you want to shoot it? But again, you cannot ask the brand and anything like that.
Does it have to be like a yes or no question?
No, I don't think so. Nope.
Okay, so I can be like...
no, it has to be yes or no. Yeah, it totally has to be yes or no. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. And start.
Is have more than one shape?
Yes.
Is it have more than one thickness?
Nope.
Is it 16 millimeters?
Yep.
Is it carbon fiber face?
Yep.
Gen 2?
Nope.
Gen 3?
Nope.
Gen 1?
Nope.
Gearbox GX2 power?
Nope. 30 seconds. You're doing good. It's the last generation. It's Gen 4. I'll give you that.
Okay, it's Gen 4. Wait, did I not? I didn't ask Gen 4? Okay, it's Gen 4.
Yep. 60 millimeters. Shapes. Multiple shapes.
16 millimeters.
20 seconds.
Multiple shapes.
You got this.
Was it released in the last 2 months?
Yes. 10 seconds.
9. I'm freezing.
Come on. Start listing foam paddles and multiple shapes. Let's go. 5 seconds. 4.
Multiple shapes.
3.
16.
2.
Foam.
1. Okay, and time's expired, but I'll give you one guess.
There.
Collect yourself, and you get one guess here to see for greatness. Again, remember, this is, I think Kyle said this is for $1,000. I'm pretty sure, right, Kyle?
Yeah, $1,000.
Here we go.
All right, what do I know? I know it's 16 millimeters. I know it's Gen 4. I know it was released in the last couple months. And I know it's 16 millimeters.
It is the...
Multiple shapes. Honolulu J6NF.
It was the boomstick.
Oh.
You did good. I just thought, I'd make it simple on this one.
That's tough in 60 seconds.
You were so, you know what? You were at 30 seconds in, and you were going Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, and I was like, oh man, this guy's dialed. When the Olsons did it, they were like every 5 seconds they were going, let me think, and I'm just like, man, you got to rattle questions. You know. All right, Kyle, this is it. Last round 2. Let's go for the sweep here.
Do I get 5 seconds extra since you said I'm lagging?
Going through my head. I'm trying to think if I should change it to a Kyle paddle. The other thing is, I got to make sure I got all the questions right, because if I get anything wrong on the paddle construction, that it comes back on me. All right, I got it, Kyle. Ready? We're going to go 60 seconds, reset the clock here for the win. Kyle, your time starts now.
Is the paddle available to the general public?
Yes. Weird question.
Did the paddle come out in the last 3 months?
No.
Did the paddle come out within the last year?
No.
Is it an American brand?
I think so. Yes. Could be wrong. Yes.
Yes. Could be wrong. Does it have multiple shapes?
Yes, no.
Oh man.
Braydon, this is a W for you. This guy's not doing it.
No, I'm not doing very well. Is it does it have 16 millimeter?
They have both 14, 16.
Oh.
10 seconds.
Is it carbon fiber? Face.
Yes. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so Braydon, he's got one guess here, and it literally could be any paddle with the amount of guesses.
Does he know what gen it is?
So I'll give him some clues here so we can speed him up here, because I think I felt a few delays. So maybe if my answers were slow, that's on me, Kyle. So we got a Gen 2 wide body paddle that it comes in a 16 and a 14 and is considered to be as plush as they come. I'll give you another hint if you want, but that's a pretty good hint.
No, that was a hold on. 16, 14.
I think I have a guess.
The best soft wide body paddle ever made. Period. What's that?
I mean, as plush as they come would have been the old Spartus frying pan would be the plushest.
He's cutting out for me, Braydon. Did he say something?
He said something about a frying pan.
I heard frying pan too. I'm not familiar with that paddle.
Is my internet acting up?
I believe that is a cute cooking utensil. Oh no,
hold on
Kyle.
Braydon, you want to take a celebrity guess here?
Oh, he's back.
Everyone,
no, he's leaving.
I think Kyle unplugged his router on purpose.
14, 16. That could be a Prism Flash or a Prism
Softer.
Bloom. Actually, the blooms came out later.
Softer than the.
Is my audio better now?
Yeah, it's a little better.
Could be a Carbon 1.
It's a little better.
Or the Carbon 2 from ages ago. That had a 14.
The softest wide body ever made.
The softest wide body. I went instantly to Apollo when you said that.
I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah, you guys could guess it. I tell you, and you're like, "No, you're so wrong." Tackle him. All right, this is not fun anymore. It is the Valera Mach 2 Forza. Ta-da!
Oh,
that's a good one.
Good one. Okay,
that is a good one. I should have asked if you had a pickleball effect paddle.
Well, you know what? I was really excited to crush Pickleball Studio. We didn't. Maybe we should try again. Maybe next week. Maybe we'll have to do it in person. We'll have to pin the segment. But again, guys, thanks for guessing paddles. But if the audience, I don't know if you can trust these two guys because they can't guess for crap. Thank you for watching Aaron and Out. Again, shout out to Holy. Let's kick it over to Kyle's Corner and see if that segment goes a little bit better. Kyle, over to you.
Well, first we have to do our beautiful ad read for our wonderful sponsor, Slice.
I'll read her. Slice, the weighted end cap that we all use and recommend all the time. It's an easy way to fine-tune your paddle's performance. They help improve balance, add power, make your paddle easier to maneuver, all in one simple add-on made right here in the USA. Use the code PPA Effect to save and check them out with the link in the description. All yours, Kyle.
Boom. All right, first note on the board. We lose CJ Klinger, leaves Proton for Adidas.
So Adidas has got Jaume and Klinger now.
Mari.
Yeah. So they are building quite a roster.
I like that group.
Yeah. So I reached out to them because I'm like, I want to get whatever paddle these guys are playing because I feel like they have to have a decent paddle.
It's got
now.
an edge guard. It's got some yellow on it, right? At least that's what CJ had.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. Have you hit it yet, Braydon?
No, they haven't heard any communication from them. I just heard it or saw it was approved and it looks like a B.
All right. Well, I emailed them
Looks
today.
like a bee,
but
like a bumblebee.
Yeah.
Dude, call it the Stinger Klinger. There you go. Boom, boom. Yo, pay me.
Pay this man. Pay this man.
Stinger Klinger.
That's big time. You're the only one that's good under pressure, like on the top
You
spots.
guys are like, does the paddle
That
have
was-
a handle?
No.
Sorry, please continue.
No. So that was just big news seeing Klinger, because Klinger's been a Proton for, I think that was his first real paddle sponsor. So it was a big deal to see him leave. Proton even said in their Instagram that Adidas gave him a really good deal. So obviously there was some, he secured the bag to go to Adidas.
Dude, give it to him. Klinger earned it.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I really enjoy watching Klinger, so I'm glad to see him, get another sponsor. Hopefully Adidas doesn't destroy him the way they destroyed Fed and Rafa's game. But, time will tell. Time will tell. But the main part of this section is I just wanted to discuss the PPA Vintage Open, which I personally thought was one of the coolest things I've gotten to watch in a very long time. Cool. There was upsets. The gameplay was different. It felt like I was watching pickleball, like pro pickleball back when I started almost, like the way the points were happening. So I just want to hear both of your guys' impressions of that tournament and your thoughts first. And then I have a little question to ask.
Ooh, Braydon, kick us off.
Yeah, dude. You referenced the play was different. Like you couldn't speed up low.
Yeah.
You just could not lift the ball up. You saw like zero attacking from the midcourt. That was just gone. You just couldn't put enough spin and power on that. You saw some driving, but not much. You just saw so many miss-hit dinks, dude. Like the ball would just die. Like sweet spot matters. Like I don't care who you are. Sweet spot matters. But it was. People were gonna joke. I heard some people joking. It's like, oh yeah, the play's not gonna change that much. These guys are that good, but no, the paddle makes a huge difference. Like it was a completely different game for those things we mentioned, and it was really fun to watch them just be basic and human. And some people, I feel like the people who won were the ones that made the adjustments quicker and that were willing to give up how they played before and hit a wood paddle with no spin on it. And so it was really fun, and it seemed like we were able to pick out some of the more cerebral players who were figuring it out. You had like Augie Guy, he's a cerebral player. He figured it out real quick. Listening to some of the interviews with Fed, I was really impressed with Fed. Fed's got a pretty spinny game. I didn't think he was going to perform that well. He did great. And in one of his interviews, he was like, I was watching so-and-so hit the ball and everything was really high and they had to take off pace to keep it down. And he was like explaining the adjustments he made. And I was like, yeah, not everyone's thinking like that. Like that makes, kind of shows off some of those chops from some of those players. But no, dude, I agree. It's super fun.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing, I watched a lot more Thursday, Friday than Saturday, Sunday. And the differences I saw is I kind of saw a lot more mistakes. People were going for flicks and shots. It felt like the muscle memory was perfect, but the ball was going into the net. And so there was just like a lot of pros like dumping into the net and like getting really upset. And then you saw a lot less of that every day as they kind of realized some shots weren't available. And it dramatically changed singles. Holy crap. I mean, like, Braydon, you texted us and said go watch the Hunter Johnson game, and man, that guy, like, as dialed and as good as he is at hitting passing shots with a normal paddle, you give him a wood paddle and like his, it totally just changed the style of game, which I think really lent to like more drops, more cat and mouse, but not these like massive shots. Although, you know what, I watched some Chris Hayworth. That dude was still hitting some nasty passing shots with the wood paddle.
He unlocked.
But you know what? He's also playing with the Babble a lot, so he more or less is playing with the wood paddle, right?
Totally.
But yeah, it just you're totally right. The players that could adjust to how the paddle played, or let alone had slightly different play styles. But again, my biggest shock was like the wooden paddle didn't maximize allowable dimensions. Like they went to a tiny, like it was like a large trainer paddle. And so it's one thing to go to wood, but it's two things to like reduce the paddle size. But maybe it's swing weight. Like why not make a bigger paddle?
Well, that was the size of the wood paddles though. That was just like a normal, that's what we used to see.
Yeah. You would just think they would like do some new custom, I don't know, it would be a perfect collaboration for some company to do like an allowable dimension, elongated wood paddle with good specs. Or I don't know. I like the idea of going wood paddles and going older, no grit. But again, like they went to like, I mean, like these things were like pizza spatulas. Like these were tiny.
They looked like a very similar size to the one that I had tested and talked about in the last podcast. And that thing was a 124 swing weight. If you had a full 16.5
That's fair.
wood
That's
paddle,
probably what it is.
that would be 140 probably.
You're swinging a 2x4 out
They're
there.
like Patrick Quinn's new C45 coming out. The thing you got to like, it's like the sword in the stone. You got to pull it out. Excalibur.
So an interesting thing about that tournament is Jeannie Bouchard has like played absolutely out of her mind, made a run to the finals, lost to Kate. But I was talking to Maria, who used to be, Boise State's tennis coach, big tennis player. And we were talking, why did she do so good in a wood paddle tournament? And we think it's because her fundamentals and like just movement on the court and stroke mechanics was so good that when the equipment was equalized, she just played better. And
so it was less of, wait, I don't know if I understand that. Like rephrase that.
So because the equipment was equalized, her fundamentals of just like stroke mechanics and movement actually shone through because you couldn't hit crazy stuff.
But like she plays with a proton now, like not wood, which I feel like is equal to everyone else's, but she doesn't win.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they equalized all the equipment, so it was more down to like your mechanics versus like being able to hit big shots.
Her proton is, for its short lifespan, just as good as any other bigger power.
Well, yeah, but then you got to take into account she's actually a relatively new pro too, so she hasn't had like the years on that paddle either as like some of the other pros.
Okay, sure,
but
yeah, that was really interesting. Yeah, that could be why. I don't know why. Maybe she just has flatter strokes or whatever, but it worked. It worked with the wood paddle.
It was sweet. But that made me question, like, after watching that, do we go the route of like baseball and stuff like that? Like, do the pro, like, obviously we wouldn't go all the way back to wood paddles, but like, does like the UPA set a lower standard of paddle that every manufacturer makes basically the same pro paddle for pros? Obviously they have to be branded to equalize the equipment, because pickleball is one of the only pro sports where people's equipment can give them a drastic advantage based on what brand they're signed with.
Yeah. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's unique, right? And like you could probably give Anna Lee that wooden paddle and set her off, and I do think she'd probably play pretty fine against a lot of pros, at least half of them.
I wish we could have seen that.
I agree. When I was first getting into pro pickleball, I had the thought there's really different equipment for different pros. Like Augie, when he was with Vatic and he was playing the Prism, like this is a pro player playing a Prism. Yeah, his defense was incredible, but you hit a Prism and then you hit a boomstick side by side. Like, it doesn't take much to realize that they're two different paddles. And so then I'm thinking like basketball, and people have signature shoes, and shoes are different. But again, like that's different than like a player having their own unique basketball or like having their own unique. Mm-hmm. So I think it makes sense that there's a world where equipment is more standard, right? You can still have paddle companies, but the specs get a lot tighter, power limits get a lot tighter. I don't know. It doesn't make sense as far as equipment being different for pros, all competing in an equal playing field. But again, it's a commercial capitalistic world where the best players get the best, biggest deals. And so I do think it makes sense to stabilize equipment more. I'm not sure, but I don't know if I have the best perspective. What do you think, Braydon? But it would never happen.
No, but it's fun to speculate. But answering the fundamental question of do we think results would be different if we standardize, say, the Yola Perseus was just the paddle? I don't think results would change to what they are now if everyone was playing with the exact same paddle. If it's all a high tech, really good paddle, maybe a year and a half ago or even a year ago, like there were clear advantages for some players because power only really became a thing across the board for all brands within the last 6 months to a year. Like it's pretty new.
Yep.
But we're still seeing the same results. We're still seeing the same teams win over and over, when I think the paddles are relatively equal now. If you have, half the people are playing Yolas anyways. And then you got boom sticks and protons. Like those are like the three, paddles that you see the most. And I'm not convinced that going to this. If it's a good paddle, if it's a high powered, I'm not convinced it would change current results now.
I'm just saying, I feel like we've seen about 3 waves of this happen. When Carbon first released their paddle, we saw a change in results because they had, because of the grit. And then I feel like once we saw that first Yola 3, that was as well. Everybody was like, holy crap. I just feel like we've seen a few waves of technology that have given players a significant advantage. You're right. And I guess at some point it should stabilize, especially with UPA setting like these are the limits. So at some point every paddle should be equal. But I do feel like we've seen waves where players did have advantages at certain points in pickleball.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, Kyle, to your point, I mean, you do a wood paddle tournament and players that don't win are winning. So what does that mean something? Yeah. Like why?
Yeah, and then
I mean, that was just such a drastic change in performance, right? Like that was 0 or 100 to 0. But if you stay, if everyone's at, we'll say YOLO's the limit, the max. Maybe you have somebody who's at 90, they get a YOLO. Maybe now they're at 100.
Yeah,
it's not as big of a change as going from 100 to 0 and like that. I mean, it took shots out of people's game. Like Hunter Johnson could not hit his passing shot. Like it was impossible with that wood paddle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe you're right where we would see it shuffled more. It's very possible.
Speculate in the comments. Let us know. I'm actually curious to read some of those.
I want to see.
Fun question.
Put your opinion of what you thought about the tournament too, because I saw people saying the tournament sucked, but like I had so much fun watching it. It was wild.
Upset watching it.
They said it was boring.
Okay, go on a walk. I don't know. Go run a marathon.
Kyle, you didn't give us your take though. So if you were, would you say standardized or would you say no standardized?
So I do think there needs to be a standardization. Again, like you said, it's not as drastic now as there is, but I think over time it's going to happen because I just think all the tech should be available to every pro, no matter their brand. And I think that at some point it's going to be that way. And pickleball is just, it's changing drastically. Again, like you said, power has only been a thing for, a year. And then the crazy grit has only been a thing for 2 years. But I think at some point with the regulations, we will stabilize. So that might not even be an issue. But I do think there are some brands that if you're signed with, you have a slight disadvantage to some of the better pros.
Quick last minute thought. I just popped in my brain. F1 does have, there are like, I don't know a ton about this, but there's things that are legal and there's, umbrella rules. But part of the reason why some of the cars, I know they have the best drivers, but cars are built different. Like they're like, I don't know, Red Bull car, Mercedes, like Lewis Hamilton, all these guys, like, some of the teams that stink, one, they're not having the best drivers, but those cars, like they don't line 18 or whatever up of the same car. Like that is part of the competitive advantage of how good a team and their engineers can build a car. Whether it's like there's different changes, and I can't speak to any of this at all. But again, they're all going on the same field. But part of it is the R&D that happens off the track, and is part of the reason why this car has a new innovation. That leads to more winning. And so, I mean, in that realm, and again, it's like the Yankees. The Yankees can buy the best players because they have the most money, right? That existed in baseball for a long time. That has existed in F1. So there are current sports where equipment is different as far as whether it's monetarily to buy the best talent or to more like F1 cars where the cars are literally different.
I mean, that is the purpose of UPA and like paddle rules, right? Is to set the limit, to have some sort of standardization there. So like that kind of already is in place to a degree and is the goal and purpose of that, right? And I don't see any issue to going, I mean, you have your max power limit. If you want to go lower in power, that's fine, right? Because it fits your play style.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that is the purpose of UPA, to your point, like what you're trying to say, Kyle, like we need a standardization. Like, yeah, I mean, that's there. That's what UPA is. But how tight are they going to make it, I guess, is what we're kind of speculating here. All right, let's go to Paddle, Babble, and Gear. So I've been playing the Vatics. I want to talk Vatics for a second. This release intrigues me, the Vatic Pro. So the Vatic Pro V-Sols, the Pros and the Powers, they just released this week. You can pick them up for $99 with code PB Effect. And then it's kind of like, I'm trying to figure out how this happened. So Vatic Pro 2 months ago comes out with basically the power model.
V-Core?
They find the V-Core. They find some durability issues. They go back to the drawing board. But when they go back to the drawing board, all of a sudden this EPP core gets really popular, and Vatic's like, oh, can you guys make this for me too? And they're like, sure. And so he comes out with 2 models. He keeps the original, and then comes out with the trendy floating core. And the floating core Pro is of the videos that have been published so far in the chatter. Like, there's been more people looking or giving more praise to the Pro model, and I feel like the power is being overlooked, and when it shouldn't be. I don't think people should, like, that should be getting more credit. One is it has that really nice kind of power profile that I think better fits a larger, or fits like cast a wider net to players. Like, people are going to play better with that paddle profile of super high power, medium pop versus high power, high pop. Mm-hmm. And then, but then it gives you the feel difference. You have the Pro that has that Gen 3 style feel that's, stiff, hollow. Then you have the Power that has like a more muted, softer feel. So I went and polled the people on Instagram just yesterday. I'd never done this before. I was just curious what people prefer. Like, do you like softer, denser, muted paddles, or do you like the Gen 3 style, more lively, crisper, hollower feel? So when I last checked it, it's still up now, but it'll be closed by the time we talk about this. Anyways, when I last checked it, there was just under 500 votes. There was 250 votes for Gen 3, which is 51%. Yep. 245 votes for the plusher, preference for plusher feel. So essentially just a wash, just a split 50-50, which I was actually pretty shocked. I didn't know what it was going to be. Like, this was one of those really fun ones. Like, I was super curious what the results were going to be, but I did not expect a perfect split. Like, this is fascinating to me with all the popular EPP floating cores, and we're just going to see more of that. Like, that's the trend. People are going to publish those, but they're missing 50% of the audience that Vatic Pro is just going to scoop up, I think, potentially with this release. I think they got lucky. I don't think they knew that it was 50-50. I think it was just them kind of throwing some paddles at the wall and seeing which one sticks a little bit here with the release of both. Because it's kind of a confusing release. Like, I'm just going to throw out 2 power paddles.
Well, and the Power and Pro, you could argue, are backwards on firepower. Some people have said the blue and the Pro has more firepower overall, and that one's not called the Power. And so it's kind of, we always chuckle a tiny bit when paddle manufacturers will, label something as all cord or put different things on different paddles. And then we're like, well, so but you want to dare challenge the godfather of the budget Prism Flash and say he got lucky?
I am. I am challenging. I'm saying he got lucky here to their benefit for sure. But to set the record straight on the power levels here is the red Power has a higher ceiling for drives. It does hit harder. You can feel that if you go hit those side by side, you're hitting drives. It does feel like the red one's giving you more pace. My speed gun tests have confirmed that. But because the pop is less on the Power model, I think it's just overall firepower is less than the Pro, which has kind of easier pop. And so I think people feel that easy pop and they just say, oh, this paddle is more powerful. But it's a little more nuanced than that. And then you just have the different feels. But I think you approach these and just say, unless you really want that paddle profile of the Power, which I think is fantastic, just go off your field preference, get the one you want. The Pro does have a little bit better sweet spot. I've discovered this week.
That's been the Achilles heel of why everyone, I feel like, is leaning Pro, because nobody wants to sacrifice on sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but I don't. I think it's overstated a little bit. Like the forgiveness on the Power is still good. Like, I don't feel like I'm losing points. I just threw 3 grams on the side, and it's definitely good enough. More than good enough. I wouldn't describe it as oversized, but I describe it as good, whereas like the other one is oversized. Yeah. But I don't know if it's really going to change it's maybe going to impact just a very small number of shots every game. I don't think it's a huge deal breaker.
Let alone it having less pop, which would, like, if you're going to have a smaller sweet spot, but it has a little bit less pop, then maybe those in tandem, it's like, oh, great, you get the larger sweet spot on the Pro, but you have way more pop. So good luck. Like, you'll hit the sweet spot, but like you wonk. Like, so. Yeah, what are you willing to give up here? Pop-ups or maybe a couple of dead shots. So it's a little trade-off there. Yeah. Especially because there's a lot of people that I know and play that they love the Prism Flash. And so it's like, it's the Saga was an upgrade for the Prism, and so maybe there's a person that bought the Prism, bought the Saga, and now they're gonna like move to the Power. Like it's perfect for them.
Mm-hmm. I think the Power is really natural upgrade there. Kyle, I know you've been messing with these. What are your thoughts?
I never got the Vatics.
Oh, I thought you received them.
Mm-mm.
We'll
Daryl.
Daryl.
We're still waiting on getting them to you too, Aaron.
Yeah, I hit Daryl's line. He apologized. Him and I might go way back. Good guy. But you know what? You're challenging the budget king. He knows what he's doing. Don't mess with Daryl.
And they're getting a lot of praise too for being a little more playable out of the box than the Quantas. We had mentioned last week, like the Quantas kind of this like player's paddle, whereas this one, these Vatic Pros are more of like an out of the box, play well, $99 type person profile.
Quanta Pro Power. Which one are you going, Braydon? You going Power all day? What's the pickleball effect recommendation?
I prefer plusher, denser feels, so I like the Power. I think I would take the Power. But between the Pro and the Quanta, I take Quanta. I can customize that
more tuning
to better numbers than I can with the V Pro. But the V Pro is not far off the Quanta, and I think the average person is going to prefer the V Pro just because you only need to put 3 grams on there.
Yeah.
Quanta, you got to put like 10 grams on each side to get that thing in a really good spot, and it takes some tinkering, and you got to know what you're doing. So it's not super player friendly that way as far as the tuning goes, unless you just go to my website and copy my Quanta setups because they're so good.
Shout out. Last question.
So good.
V-Sol Power or Loco? B&B Loco, because we're in the dense.
Ooh, yeah.
Dense foam.
The Locos are my favorite feeling wise of those floating cores, and that now it kind of comes down to less the feel and more the profile you want. Like if you want the higher pop, higher power, I go Loco. If you want that discrepancy in power pop, you go Power. Oh man.
Again, pickleball in 2025 is like these are razor margins.
Right.
Yeah, people are 100%. Like, this is going to change my game. It's like, no, it's not.
I don't think I'm winning or losing more with one or the other.
Yeah.
But man, I don't even know. Right now.
Maybe it comes down to price, affinity, all the above. Yeah.
Probably Power then. I would go Power. You save $100. It plays great. I think I could beat you guys with either with the same margins.
Oof. Damn. Go buy some tuning tape, huh? Save some money, go buy some tuning tape.
I do think there is a case for the Locos, even over the V Pros and the Quantas, if you want a little more nuanced feel that's not as hollow. But for the most part, I don't know if people care that much for that one nuance between the two. But if I'm picked between those 3 EVA cores, my preference is to the Loco because I do like the little firmer, not quite as hollow feel, but it still has it's still in that same vein as the others.
But still, great release from Vatic to kind of fill another slot in the market. So we talk about maybe how the waves ended up being expensive, but slots into like a newer all court foam. The Vatic similarly, right? So we have all of these Gen 4 floating core, right? You could argue that the Pro and the Rhombus Quanta are similar, and so it's great that we have the Power that's a little bit denser of a budget option. So now you have a third category of saving price, but you don't have to go for like the Gen 3 hollow feel if you don't want to. And so it's only a good thing to have options.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's only going to pay off for them. The last several pitches I've gotten via email from different brands, they've all been the floating core.
Yeah.
And so there's not too many people going after a different variation, which happens to be 50% of the market apparently that prefer a softer feel over that hollow feel. And so that was really kind of a cool uncovering there. I want to bring up Speak Pickleball's post this month. So he does that post every month. I just think this post is brilliant from him, where he figures out what every viewer's like favorite paddle is or main for that month.
The main,
yeah. Kyle, you said it was the Loco, right? I said it's the GX2 Power. Aaron would say Boomstick on a good day, and then but then they had everyone say what's a paddle you think is underrated. And the most common underrated paddle was the Luz Cannon. This is a paddle I haven't played yet. I just got it this week. I haven't hit it.
Oh, nice.
And but there was like four other reviewers that called that one out. Yeah. So there seemed to be a consensus that one was the most underrated paddle. I didn't really know anything about it. I was just reading up on it when I got this yesterday. So it retails for $109. and it has it's a floating core design with polypropylene, but it has 3 different layers of foam that make the floating core.
Cool.
Okay.
And apparently this thing is the most underrated paddle. So I'll get a sense of that, report back on that later. But Luz, I'm kind of surprised to see them catch a little steam here just as a brand, because they've been emailing me for a while, and their website has progressively gotten better, but their website kind of gives this, I don't want to like be rude, but like a little bit of like an Alibaba kind of copycat type website where they just made paddles that were popular or similar. They even mimicked some of Yola's designs on the face and the technology. Nothing was really their own yet. And so I kind of just wrote them off. Like, to be real, I was like, these are just copycats that you're selling for a little bit cheaper. Like, you're kind of ripping off design. There was no like face to the brand. And it's like, who are these people? Who are they making them? And so, but they're picking up steam, and I'm chatting with, a person via email. Her name's Tina, I guess. She's their PR manager. But I don't know too much about the brand yet, but that was kind of the vibes I was getting from them. But their paddles are starting. They have 2 other foam paddle options that are one is the EPP floating core one, and they have a different one that's an MPP, which is what Rhombus used. It's a floating core as well, and so they're starting to break out, make some of their own stuff. And
hey, this is how Honolulu broke through.
Nice now.
I'm not saying Luz is Honolulu, but this is how Honolulu broke through. Like, they just did something right for a really long time, and eventually, like, people started talking, and the talking got louder and louder. And so, and again, there's always room for budget paddles. And so, if you're gonna make a budget beater, it plays good, it's affordable, like, more power to you, right?
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, it's just been kind of an interesting interaction with them as I've kind of received the communications. It feels like this faceless brand, but then like they sponsor some players in the U.S. and cool. Like that they have some posts and stuff there. But anyways, that was kind of where I'm coming from with Luz. But we're gonna try these things. We're gonna give them a fair shot. We'll see how they play.
You see this, Kyle? Braydon pays to get his website renewed, and then now he's the website expert, and he's giving advice to all these small paddle brands, going, "Your website's bad." Me, I just refreshed mine. Look at this guy.
I feel him though. I have been to some paddle websites where I almost feel like I'm on like a scam website where I'm like afraid to put my credit card info in.
Yeah. Maybe they're making a podcast and the Pickleball Effect website's no good, right?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah. There's like one of those cheap paddles that people on Facebook say is amazing. It's called and it's got a name like carbon fiber or something, and they were all talking it up. And that website, I would never put my credit card on that website because it looks like it would be sold to some like Kenyan prince to just charge up all my money.
Well, their website isn't ugly or design bad necessarily, but it's like when you go to the about page, like it's very generalized. Yeah. Like there's no names, there's no pictures. It's like, who are these people?
Yeah. Fair enough.
Anyways, we're gonna give them a fair shot. Last bullet I have here for Paddle Babble Gear is Franklin shoes. Boom, boom, boom. Bam. They sent these to me this week. I played with them on a couple of times. I want to get more into shoes. I want to start talking about shoes more. We've talked about this a few times, but I'm getting for real on shoes. I'm starting my own basic, humble shoe database where I can keep track of some things here and there. Maybe I'll share that with the public someday. But let's talk Franklin's for a second. So they're launching next month. I don't know the exact date. It's going to be October sometime. But a lot of good things to say about these. So they're on like the lighter side, like a kind of midweight, lighter weight shoe, which I have a preference for. I like lighter weight shoes. Do you guys have a preference for weight? Like, do you like kind of like a lighter Babble a lot, or do you like a more sturdy, comfortable shoe?
My preferences have changed a little bit as I've lost weight. So when I was heavier, I liked like the heavier, like the Winner's Edge shoe, just because it was I felt so secure and like safe in it. But now I want a little bit of a lighter shoe because I feel like I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. What about you, Aaron?
How would you describe the new Selkirks? Those hot pink highlighter ones they sent us. Oh, not Selkirks, not Skechers. Apologies. Is that a?
Oh, I don't have those.
What is it? I don't know what they're called.
I don't have the.
Okay. What?
I don't have those either, Aaron. What's up?
Dang.
Aaron's got a Skechers deal.
I got a co-host shoe. A co-host shoe, like the co-host paddle. Whatever the new Skechers is, I'm really digging. Don't know if they're heavy or light. I don't know anything. I just know that I like them.
Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, going back to this. So yeah, a little bit on the lighter side, which I liked. really comfortable. Like when you put it in, like some shoes will kind of have like a little sturdier, like they have a lot of material up top that's like protecting the slide, and it can feel kind of stiff. These don't feel that. They feel more like a regular shoe. Like they're pretty comfortable when you go in, like they feel like a regular sneaker. But when you're playing in them, they don't feel like, feel like you're moving everywhere. Like they have a good, like it forms to your foot nice. Other than the heel, there is a little slippage in the heel I noticed. Though in the front of the foot felt fine there. They're like kind of like a medium to a narrow width. I have a narrow foot, and so like it fit me well. But the heel thing, I noticed, and I was just trying to figure out. I was like, okay, why is this? And when you feel the heel, they're like, there's not a lot of structure here. And then when I go feel this like cup or this heel on like the Babble or some other really popular shoes,
they're really sturdy.
Yeah, they usually have like something really firm and hard here that gives you a really nice heel lock.
Heel shank, is that the term?
Maybe like a heel shank. This doesn't have that. It's a little more flexible there, and maybe that's why I was feeling a little bit slippage in the heel. And then, but in the forefront, like in the toe area where you're pushing off, I didn't feel that ever. So it's kind of this nice like blend of comfort, but still have some agility from the front. And then like the airflow is really nice. Like they have like some ventilation here on the side. They have ventilation on the bottom, which I appreciate. There's a couple others that have done that. I've realized like Head kind of has a similar system to this with their Motion Pros that they make, and it's pretty good. But and I think they look nice. Like I actually like the design. I think they look good on the foot. Some people commented on some of the stories that they didn't like the look. Others said they did. To me, I thought they looked nice. They look good on, and the tread was there. But no, it kind of just fit my style. So maybe that's why I liked them, because I liked the little lighter weight. I liked the comfort. Like it was comfortable, but not over the top. Like you could still move. You need like there's a little comfort in the cushion. Like you could feel that sink in when you landed hard or split stepped. But in the foot, when you like push side to side laterally, there's not as much give there. There's not quite as much cushion, and so you can move quicker, and they're low to the ground. So like I felt fast, I felt quick, I could move on the court well, and but they still they were still cushioned, but not over the top. And so it was a nice balance between like kind of comfort and agility that I liked. And then I'm always all about the shoes that are lower to the ground. I like the heel and the toes a little lower. Like the new Selkirks are like, kind of like a higher heel to toe. That's not my ideal setup. So I like a little lower. We ought to talk about the Selkirks maybe next week, because I think they did a good job. I'm learning to differentiate, my preferences from, whether it's objectively a good or a bad shoe. Like I did that with paddles long ago, but like forever ago, but I'm not quite there with shoes yet, as I'm like learning about the different, things that go into them, and, the features that affect, different, performance. Because, for a long time, it was just like, either I do or I don't like the shoe. It's because it fit me or it didn't. Yeah. And so anyways, learning more about that. I want to make some more content about shoes, but I think they did a good job there, and it's fun to see more brands coming out with shoes. Selkirk was the first, then we have Diadem that did one a year ago. I guess Diadem was really the first. They did it before Selkirk.
And Diadems is still going strong with the court burst. So. Yeah,
no, that's another really good shoe. That one's a little on the heavier side, more of a comfort. It's a narrower but really high durability. I like that one. But yeah, then Selkirk's, and then the Franklin's now, and then Knox is another brand that Kyle got shoes for recently that we'll be trying out.
Pickleball brand, or are they in a different space?
Knox. So Knox is really big in padel. They've had pickleball paddles, but they haven't been great. But I know they're developing some fun ones that they're hoping to launch soon. But they have a shoe in padel that performs really well, so they converted that to like a pickleball variant.
Rumor on the street is Yola's developing shoes. Waiting on that too. But I like the idea of pickleball brands getting into shoes. Also, shout out to Franklin. Franklin was kind of.
That's not a rumor. Yola has one of their guys worked for Nike for like 20 years or something like that.
Not a rumor. It's not a rumor, Braydon. Hey, sorry to offend.
Yeah. No. I was just gonna say. I remember they talked about it in Vegas. That guy said he worked for Nike for like 20 years or something like that, and he was designing a Yola shoe.
Right. But it's cool.
So that'll be sweet.
We love.
Yeah, I think it's smart. Like do the head to toe athlete. Like I think Selkirk has had the edge there for so long, because like they have everything. They have the bags, the net. Like they just do the whole gambit. Yeah. And if you like Selkirk, you can get decked out. Like Yola kind of follows in their footsteps there. But those are really the only two brands that had kind of the head to toe. I guess you could say Franklin, because they have a bunch of stuff that's not pickleball that you could go buy. But if you want to do the head to toe thing, but yeah. And so I don't know. It makes sense, right? Like you have your. What's that rule, the like 80-20 rule, where 20% of the people drive 80% of the margins or of your revenue? Like you gotta give those 20 people everything that they can get, right? Like if you can, those 20%, if you can give them shoes, clothes, bag, they're going to buy it all, right?
If they're in love with their main
100%.
too, like all they want to do is like pickleball is, it's huge with accessorizing. So, right. You know, you would love to, again, like you don't want to be a cross brand mess, right? You got blank hat, blank shirt, blank pants. Like you're a C45 guy, like you're going to buy those shoes probably, right? Like why not?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think of anything, shoes are one that you'd get more cross pollination in. Like I could see, and especially with Franklin being a bigger brand that's more than just pickleball. Like Selkirk, I don't see a YOLO person playing in Selkirk shoes, but I see a YOLO person playing in Franklin's potentially if they like the shoe.
Right.
I could see that.
Right.
And anyways, but yeah, no, totally. There's definitely some of that in there. Anyways, that's going to end our episode for the week. Thanks for joining, you guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Really interested in what the comments are going to be this week. I think there were some fun discussions, and will be fun to hear everyone's opinions. Later.
It's off. Bye.
Bye.
This is the end of the podcast.